Hey, everybody, this is Dominic DeAngelo of adfreeshows.com. Today's date is February 1st, 2023, and MLW is kicking it off with a very big weekend, not only in Philadelphia, but they'll be debuting on Reelz Channel on February 7th, MLW Underground. And I'm happy to have with me one of the main men of the show. It's none other than the Real One. Real One, thanks for joining me, brother. How are you?
How you doing, man? You know, yesterday was the best day of my life.
Yo, yeah, why?
You wouldn't believe what happened.
Yeah,
You want to know what happened?
I want to know what happened.
I'll tell you what happened. I wake up today. Today's better than yesterday. Unbelievable.
That's the way to do
Excited.
it. That's
Yeah,
the way
man.
to do it. Well, I'll
I'm
start it off
I'm
with this
excited.
then. Do you feel pretty good? Not only is Tom Brady now retired, but your state of the Giants, where do you kind of wear that out nowadays with Daniel Jones in the mix and everything like that? Do you sign him? Do you
Uh,
not sign him? Where's that all go?
I think it's interesting. What's about to happen with New York football in general? You're a Jets fan. I'm a
Yep.
Giants fan. I root for the Jets as well. We got Coach of the Year, Brian Dayball, and Danny looked good. Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes.
If they have to sign him. It just can't be a ridiculous contract. But there's going to be other people out there, I think, that are going to be interested in Danny. He's going to get offers. There's about 14 teams in the league right now that at least need quarterbacks. I think that he fits the scheme. He likes it there, and he'll probably take a little less money maybe than he would get offered to go to a floundering organization. But I think they have to sign Saquon and they have to sign Danny. I think they're the backbones of the offense for the next four. I mean, maybe give Danny a five-year deal, give Saquon a four if you could do it. Try to stretch those contracts out so they don't spread you thin on the roster with the cap. But it's going to be interesting to see what the hell the Jets do at quarterback. More interesting than the Giants. I think Danny's here to stay. I don't think Saquon's going anywhere. The team likes it. I was out to dinner the other day with Nick Gates. He's a free agent too, one of the longest tenured Giants. Shout out my man Nick. Nasty Nick Gates broke his leg, came back, played some good football for us this year. It was an exciting season as a fan. I went to week one against the Tennessee Titans in Nashville. I
Mhm.
went to go see Jacksonville. The Giants almost came up short, went down
Yeah.
to the 1 yard line. Saw that in Jacksonville. And I saw the last game of the season with our backups in Philadelphia because I was stuck in Philadelphia due to the Major League Wrestling commitment I
Right.
had.
Yep.
But I'll be back in Philly on February 4th this Saturday in a dumpster match, taking on the likes of Microman and Mance Warner and a mystery opponent. And quite frankly, I don't care who the hell the mystery opponent is. Everybody's getting thrown in the trash. That's how it's going down like a hole in the ground. I'm gonna pick up Microman in the air, and I'm gonna like Simba and the Lion King, and I'm gonna sing "How's the vineyard?" And then I'm just gonna drop him I'm gonna drop a bloody Microman along with the feminine napkins in a little basket, okay? And then I'm gonna throw Mance Warner in dumpster where he belongs, and whoever this mystery guy is, dude, we'll see where he fits. But yeah, it's going down like a hole in the ground. Major League Wrestling. Check out Underground on February 7th on Reelz Network, and check me out February 4th. There's my alarm for this. February 4th, Saturday,
Yep.
2300 Arena, Major League Wrestling, Microman, Mance Warner, Real1, and a mystery opponent in a dumpster match. I guarantee to put on a show. That's what I always do. And we're looking to grow. And this Major League Wrestling thing is something that I'm really committed to. I'm enjoying the process. I'm a star. I take media showers and a gravitational pull at Major League Wrestling. So, there's Tinkle Tinkle Little Star. I hope you're pissed off, Microman. You bring tweezers and a magnifying glass on Saturday because you're going to fucking need it, asshole.
Well, I think what's great too
Sorry,
is
sorry for wrapping that up with a little curse word there, but
that's all right. Hey, we're all about adding a little bit of color here on ad free shows, so you're a-okay. We got a lot
all
of
right,
people
good.
dropping f bombs. I do it all the time on here, so
All right, good to know.
yeah. So, when I did see you in Philly for the one show, you did have a match, and it was one of the unique ones on the card. It hasn't been, I don't think it's been aired yet. So, but what I thought was fascinating too, earlier that week, you cut a promo on Busted Open Radio, and you basically were up for that kind of challenge, facing somebody like a Microman and making it stand out to the rest of make it stand out than all the other wrestling matches that would necessarily be on the card. How going into that process, is that how you really kind of cultivated a lot of your like star power moving forward out of like, previous promotions like WWE or anything like that?
I mean, the only previous promotion I've ever been with is the WWE. So,
Mhm.
um, plethora of independence over the past 2 years. I wrestled the Indies for the first time about 2 years ago.
Yep.
I've been plugging away ever since, taking as many great opportunities to have great matches. I just wrestled Juventud Guerrera, seemingly on the fly. Walked into the building, met Juventud in the ring, and I ended up jackhammering him, power bombing him, dude. It was fun, man, and I enjoy the process. You never know what you're going to get when you step into these smaller arenas and venues, and it's a real challenge at times, as opposed to these giant crowds that I was blessed enough and spoiled enough to come into, pro wrestling, the only world having been known to me, the WWE. So to be working with Major League Wrestling, who is almost like the ECW of this era.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I think that we're making some. I think that we're making some real noise, and for the people that are realizing we're about to join the likes of AEW, WWE, TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call them now. Among these people that have TV deals, we're going to be on television, and I'm glad that I'm a part of it at the very beginning stages, because I believe in this thing. And if you look at all these promotions, I mean, you could be a big fish in a small pond, but that's not the way I see this. I see wrestling as so many alternative companies providing different things, and there's nuances in Ring of Honor and New Japan that people enjoy that they wouldn't enjoy if they were watching a WWE product. And
Right.
there's things in the WWE that people enjoy that they don't enjoy when they watch an AEW product. There's differences, and the landscape is vast. And I find that we're a niche that fits into a category that really we're not spreading ourselves thin, but we're spread evenly across the board in these areas where you're going to see lucha style matches, and you're going to see some real entertainment when Real1, as formerly known as Enzo Amore, when you see Real1 take on Microman. And as far as, if you're into the Samoan dynasty, one of the biggest badasses in the Samoan dynasty is Fatu, Jacob Fatu. And I'll be the first one to say that, even though I've had my, run-ins with him at MLW. It's a fun process. And, I look at a guy like Hammerstone is, if you just look at him and you're a little kid and you look up, you go, that's a pro wrestler.
Hell yeah. Yep.
And he's a stud. I'm a bona fide stud. So there's a roster there that's meant to be tinkered with, meant to be toyed with, and people, as far as like a forbidden door goes, there's people coming in and out the door all the time at MLW just for the fans' sake. What they give them what they want to see, and if there's somebody out there that can put on a show, infiltrate, the television that maybe you haven't seen before because you watch WWE. Well, Reelz is about the realest rocket, and when Bada Boom really show on the moon, we're going places. I believe in it. I think that we're gonna put some real stiff competition to some of these people. I mean, quite frankly, I believe in myself, and I know that I'm the best at what it is that I do. So if I'm there, I would hope that it becomes a breeding ground for others like me to come and enjoy this opportunity to create something special, because I was a part of the creation of something special in NXT, and I believed in it, and I've been here before, so I know what the capabilities are. If you don't believe in it, 205 Live was beating NXT in the ratings when I was there.
Yeah.
And NXT got their own TV show. So why wouldn't I believe in myself? The proof is in the pudding. I'm ready to take Major League Wrestling to the next level.
Well, that's a great point too, because I've been with MLW for like 3 years now, and so I've covered the product week in and week out with it. And like to see it, it's very much reflects on NXT in the early days, where it's like 1 hour product. It's very tight. Every continuity wise, everything flows through week in and week out. You get the highlights of the certain stars that you want to focus on, and then but you also get the diversity of like real like big fighting, big names, and then you get the like lighter elements or different mixes in, like you got Cesar Duran with all the Lucha Underground vibes to that. Then you get Alex Hammerstone, but then you get the Luchadors, then you get people from Dragon Gate. It's a whole mixture of stuff, but everybody gets their moment in the sun too. Nobody gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing is that there's so much talent in the world of pro wrestling right now, whether you're an AEW star, you're a WWE star. I need people to realize, like, look, I'm not trying to be a big fish in a small pond because I was the biggest fish in the biggest fucking pond in the world. All right. Quite frankly, if you're
Yeah.
the number one merchandise seller in the WWE, that makes you the number one selling pro wrestler in the world, not
Mm-hmm.
just WWE, in the whole wide world. So if I was able to do that there, imagine the way I'm looking at Major League Wrestling as a place for me to put my feet in cement, establish ground, and make it a place that everybody wants to come watch, everybody wants to come see, and to bring the best out of the people that I'm on the roster with. You know, stars come in all different shapes and sizes. And one of the people that made it on television faster, like in the WWE, you would say, like, oh, you never know when you're going to get the call up from NXT to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, NXT is its own television show, which is fantastic. Plenty of opportunity out there. But even then, it's hard to get that opportunity. A person like Lana was a star,
Yeah.
and she was in NXT for a hiccup, a cup of coffee. And you got wrestlers that are in NXT that have been down there for 7, 8 years, busting their ass, killing themselves every day. And they're probably mad about the fact that Lana's on TV now. Or they're saying, why not me? But you know what? That's what this is. It's a television show. And some people are stars. And Microman is a star. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you see a guy like me wanting to work with a Microman because I know what makes great television. In the past, I've hit, 3.0 ratings on Monday Night Raw with segments like Lana being naked and backstage and in the hotel, and then doing things with Nia Jax backstage, and just the intrigue of seeing characters paired up with one another and how this thing can work. You were at the Microman show when I
Right.
wrestled
Yes.
him.
Mm-hmm.
It has
Yep.
not aired yet.
Yep.
I mean, was there a better moment that day than
I have to say, we were all backstage. We were all on the screen. Everybody was fucking busting out, and the crowd was popping big time. Like Microman came out a couple times, and the reaction he got was big time. And that's
Oh,
the Philadelphia
he
Arena.
is. I mean, you can't get the crowd any higher than the first time they see Microman on the show.
Yep.
And when you pair him up with me and you give me a microphone and I get to lay into him, it's a show. And Major League Wrestling is putting on a show that's a little different than everybody else. And I promise you, I'm gonna, I'm gonna keep this thing rolling. I'm gonna have some more fun. I'm gonna drop some promos on the Instagram this week. Rip people a new one. I mean, the accrued amount of views on some of these promos that I've done on Microman alone, like I'm my Microman promos on my Instagram alone are like 600,000 views.
No shit.
Like just collectively, just it's just fun, man. And he gives me the material. It was like when I had wrestled Jerry the King Lawler in a casket match, and just
Yeah.
yeah, and I had done that on the Indies, and that was bucket list shit. But doing that, the amount of material that I could come up with because it's all there for you.
Right. Yeah.
And Microman, I'm sorry, he gives me that same pleasure when I'm
Yeah.
writing these promos. I'm having a blast.
Dude, I don't want to ruin it for the fans that haven't seen it, but that moment, it's like you get in there and it pops the crowd big time for a good, and you were in there for a good amount of time too doing it, and so it's definitely worth watching.
I'm pretty sure we took all the time that we were allotted in that segment, and I didn't go a minute short. I don't think, man. And
You
that,
maximized the minutes, man. It was good. Well,
yeah,
okay, I'll ask you this too. What's kind of neat too, you've known Court for quite a while, I believe. Is
yeah.
And the kind of neat thing about that is I was thinking about this right before I started the interview was that Court in the early days of MLW had Dusty Rhodes with him. And then obviously you worked with Dusty in NXT and you guys were very tight with one another. Can you talk about kind of the relationship of you and Court and then you and Dusty?
Court is the best boss I've ever had in pro wrestling. I
Yeah.
haven't had many. I had one named Vince McMahon. I guess you would call, the other guys down in NXT, there's a whole hierarchy of people that I had to adhere to
Right.
over the years. But man, we as wrestling fans so oftentimes, don't like to look at the whole big business. And,
Mm-hmm.
and we just want to concentrate on, we want let him do his thing. They never let that guy win. Oh, that guy never gets enough TV time. Oh, that guy doesn't get to say, and I've been there fighting tooth and nail to say the things I wanted to say, whether they hand me a script that says, "How are you?" And I'm like, I want to say, "How you doing?" And they're like, "No, you're saying, how are you?" And I'm like, I want to say, "How you doing?" That's a hypothetical, and that's not necessarily real, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, totally.
Um, there's there's a certain level of trust I believe that I have, um, and you gain that and garner that, I think, over time. But I'm just so fortunate and lucky that I came into a situation where Court trusted me, because of some mutual acquaintances we had. I have some really good friends that Court is really good friends with, and I think that they kind of let him know, like, look, like, there's probably a jury out on Enzo that's inaccurate, as far as, being able to work with somebody. And
Mm-hmm.
through that process, I've had the easiest time going to work, leaving, coming with a smile on my face, leaving with the same smile on my face. No drama, no politics, um, and that's where I'm best suited. And so I found that, God always puts you where you're supposed to be, and I might be ahead of the curve here, being in a situation where, like, it's there's a thing out there on Instagram these days where it's like a guy talking about a bottle of water, and he's
Mm-hmm.
talking about the worth of that bottle of water. And he's like, sometimes, you go to the stadium, you pay $15 for that bottle of water, you pay $12 for that bottle of water. You go to the dollar store, you pay $1 for that bottle of water. It's like, go where you're valued, and you'll get more out of it. And I find that I'm valued here in MLW. They treat me with respect. I give them respect. That goes for the locker room and the producers, and it's just been really easy, like, easy going, like. And it's funny, even my father said that, because my father comes to the shows with me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm really close with my family. And when I was in the WWE, they would call me constantly because they were watching. They wanted to know what was going on, and they could tell I was really unhappy at times.
Right, right.
And that's a whole different ball game. That's a whole different animal, and that's something, that can't be compared to what it is that I'm doing here, as far as the amount of time being spent on the road and all that. But now that I'm around family, my dad was at the show, and he's like, "Hey, man, these people are really nice. Like, this is a really good eye." And he's walked on eggshells backstage at WWE shows
Oh
plenty.
yeah.
So he was just he was enthralled by, how kind people were backstage, and that starts at the top, I believe, with Court, who took the time to talk to my father. He didn't have to, and it's I enjoy it, man. And guys like, Fatu, who have been in this business forever and a day, and Hammerstone, who have, held that title and been in that company for a while, they didn't have to welcome me in to that locker room, despite, like, any preconceived notions on, the television show itself, if you watch it, versus, what really goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
I don't run around backwards and scream at the top of my lungs, and and just foot shuffle and dance everywhere I go.
No,
So
no.
there's a lot of thought that goes into what it is that we do as pro wrestlers, and I appreciate the opportunity to, exploit that with the creative, and be able to give my input, and throw ideas at people. And they're just an open book, really. Yeah, of course, if your boss tells you he wants you to do something, you're going to do that thing, and you're always going to try to make everybody happy. It's no different than any other job, but at the same time, they're willing to work with you. And so oftentimes in my career, I had to I had to eat shit and learn to like the taste of it. And I haven't had to really eat any shit here. I've just had an opportunity to have fun.
Well, that's great you say that too, because when you level it all out, it's like I always fit, and people are so and like ensconced with like social media, everything like that. So, but I found out it's like, don't judge people too until you meet them. So and I think that's so important to kind of do, but people take it away and want to label people a certain way and everything like that. It's just, there's no point to it. No point to it.
It's funny. I see this viral meme that goes out a lot. Like, if you're on YouTube and it just like shuffles things, when you on shorts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
just saw one of Billy Gunn, and Billy Gunn was sitting there, and they were talking about it. He's like, The Rock made fun of him or whatever and cut a promo on him on a mic. And he's like, I'm in character. I got to keep a straight face. But when I went to the back, I laughed my ass off.
Yeah.
But people hang on to that and they think that he ruined my career or that he shitted on me so bad. And it's like, The Rock's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's okay. And he's done pretty well for himself. And he didn't mean it.
No.
And it's like, yeah, man, like that's it. That's what I'm like. This is not real life. This is pro wrestling. And so
Right.
oftentimes people just, man, like, guys, there's only so much that's in your control. And just like, like if I'm told I'm a bad guy that day, then that's what I am. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
just had a wrestling match last weekend against Fandango and Scotty Too Hottie. And it was Fandango's charity show. And he's a really good buddy of mine. And it meant a lot to me just to go. He's giving back to the place he came from. He's Trailer Park Trash from Maine.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
up in Maine now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's always been in Maine. He's Trailer Park Trash from Maine. And he debuted at WrestleMania and won. So, I mean, he's one of the most badass, underrated stories in the history of the business because he didn't have any family. His dad sold wooden bats, and the wooden bat industry went to shit when they started making aluminum bats. And now he grows up in a trailer park, becomes a wrestler, and he did 15 years in the WWE. And he was one of my OGs, man. And he showed me a lot of great things. And he's a brilliant guy, Fandango. I had a really great time going up there and wrestling and just seeing the indie culture up in Maine. These guys wanted their whole lives. Like, this is their Madison Square Garden. This is where the hockey team plays there, the minor league team in Portland, Maine. And
Yep.
this building's called the Civic Center. And that's where the WWE ran. It holds like 5 to 10,000. And man, Fandango, put on a show because he knew a lot of his boys that he came up with never got to wrestle in that building. And that's all they ever wanted. And so he put on a charity event at the end of the minor league hockey game and put a ring on the ice. And they brought it out there and we put on a show. And it was me and I don't want to say his name and sound racist, but his name is Kid Chocolate. Yes, he's a black guy, but
Yeah.
he's from Calgary. He's from Calgary, and he works with Bret Hart. And it's just it's things like that afford you this opportunity to really take a look at what it is that you've accomplished in pro wrestling, and then take it a step further on the local community level, how much more it means than that worldly amassed fame that you've gotten through WWE. But when you take it back home to the grassroots, to the place where you came from, and you help those that were, that means a lot to me. So it was cool to get up there and get in the ring and wrestle and do these things like that. It's a humbling process, man, going up, coming down, going up, coming down. And, the Royal Rumble's going on, and I'm in an ice skating rink wrestling Scotty Too Hottie and Fandango,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I almost would rather be there in that situation, giving back to somebody who's giving back to the people around him who gave so much to me. And just humble yourself and just be thankful and grateful for what it is that you do have. So oftentimes, like, you're in it and you don't appreciate it. I think that that's the harshest part for me when I look at my run in pro wrestling, is like, I've always appreciated it.
Yeah.
If you watched it on TV, then I was really enjoying it and pinching myself at every waking turn. Like, this is real life. Holy shit. You did it, dude. You're here. And I never had to lose it all to know that when it happened. So that's something that I pride myself in. It wasn't too big of a moment for me. It was never too big of a moment. It was never so big that I didn't take a step back to go, holy shit, this is. I always did. And so, like, if you ever saw me out there, you weren't seeing me enjoy the thrill of that moment along with you. And I would love to see, like an MLW do the things like I've got out of WWE. I booked myself at the Staples Center for Survivor Series, and then I got booked at Madison Square Garden, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was through the same premise. And it was through the work that I laid out, the foundation I laid out when I got on the WWE, off that scene, that I'm off my rocker. I'm Brian Pillman Jr. I am Brian Pillman, not Jr. I'm losing my mind. I'm a loose cannon, and you don't know what I'm going to do, and you don't know if
Yeah.
it's a work or a shoot. That is bucket list shit, to do the Garden and on your own terms to get yourself booked in that situation. Now I look at Major League Wrestling and I'm like, man, bro, the sky is the limit. I was in NXT when Triple H walked through the door and was like, we're going to take this thing on the road. Nobody believed it. Everybody's like, yeah, okay. And then we ended up at Barclays Center in the O2 Arena. So the sky's the limit for MLW. If we, you go from a 2,300 arena, let's say you go into a Hammerstein ballroom, or you go into, Radio City, and you rock at the Garden. Who knows where this thing can go and what the landscape of pro wrestling is going to look like when guys get fed up at WWE or get fed up at AEW, and where is it that they want to turn to go? Well, there's a great show going on right now, and it's on TV. It's going to be on Reelz February 7th. So I hope that people realize that there's some real opportunity in pro wrestling outside of those giant companies. And if you're at the forefront of something special, like I was in NXT, like the guys were in ECW, I don't see why MLW can't be that.
100%. It's a great operation. Like you said, the mentality backstage is a team effort. It's very good. So yeah, Real One, man, I could talk to you for days. I wanted to bring up your grandmother. I wanted to talk to you about Frank Sinatra. We'll have to do it another time, but it's been great, dude. I thank you so much for taking the time. Anything else you want to plug before we let you go?
Yeah, man. I don't know if you guys heard, someone broke into Hacksaw Jim Duggan's house.
Yep.
He pulled out a 44 caliber pistol. 44. Told the guy to spread eagle on his front porch.
Yep. Dirty hairy shit.
I made a song called Hacksaw.
No shit.
Because it's an awesome story and it's a dirty song. Hacksaw is the song. It's by Real1, REAL, number one, not the word. And I'm telling you, this song is a banger. Okay, it is a banger, and you need to check it out. Real1 Hacksaw. Bump it, spread it, send it to your friends. Let's get the word spread. Real1 makes music, bro, and I make rock, I make rap, and they'll put me in a box when I die, dog.
Hell yeah.
There's no genre for a G.